Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Mike Brach, physical therapist. I'm also a lifelong martial artist, and I am so excited that you're joining me for some of you, maybe a 1 or 2 week journey. For others of you, maybe all 6 weeks uh, for a Tai Chi experience. And I got to tell you, there are fewer forms of exercise than Tai Chi, and that have been validated by a lot of research when it comes to helping people with Parkinson disease and without Parkinson disease to live well, move well, work on balance, work on coordination, you name it. And I think you'll see. I'm going to switch the camera over here in just a moment and try to put some soft music on in the background. It's pretty common to have just some gentle, quiet music playing. And if you can't even hear it, don't sweat it. I'm going to change the view here. Step out so we can get started. So I've been doing martial arts most of my life, and I feel fortunate that many years ago, when I was doing a lot of amateur fighting, long before I became a physical therapist, my teacher at the time, Shi Martin Ware, noticed I was having trouble keeping up with the training, and I was always injured. And he asked me point blank, when are you going to become what he called a real martial artist and show up early on Saturday and Sunday to train with our Tai Chi group? And it may be one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Hopefully, if nothing else, it gives you an opportunity to move gently, breathe deeply, and to feel a little bit better. For our practice, I'll ask this. I'll ask that you keep a chair or a sturdy support object nearby in case you need it. And I'll ask that you not work through any pain. And I need to be careful how I phrase that, because often in a physical therapy clinic, for example, I'll have patients who say to me, hey man, my back hurts, my back's always hurt, or my shoulder hurts, it always hurts. And what I ask them to focus on is what I'm going to ask you to focus on, which is as we go through each repetition, if it feels like it's just talking to you, that's one thing. We can probably work with that. But if it feels like with each repetition, it's getting worse, it's getting more painful, I'll ask that you stop and let me or let Gavin, our host, know in the chat, because Tai Chi is probably one of the most accessible and one of the most modifiable forms of exercise in the world. So there are a variety of ways to get this done, and I guess that's a windbag way of me saying there's no sense in pushing through a bunch of pain just to try to capture the benefits of Tai Chi. So a shorter version is the name of the game is do what you can and don't worry about the rest. I've got a chair here. I'll use it for some things, but first, as a sign of respect to each other and where we practice, I always like to give a slight bow. And then for our beginning of our warm-ups, I'm going to take a seat. Feel free to stand if you'd like, sit if you'd like, whatever feels good for you. When you're sitting, though, I'll ask that you not slouch back into the back of the chair, but that you, just to give you a side view, rather than leaning back, I want you to try to sit up nice and tall. And that way you can really engage those core stabilizing muscles. Our first warm-up is a little tricky, but I think we can pull it off. We know large amplitude movements help for people with Parkinson disease, so we really want to reach those arms out really wide, really high. Lace the fingers together if you can, and we're going to lower the palms down in front of you, pressing them down towards the floor as much as you can. I know sometimes it kind of aches in the elbow there. Let's breathe in slowly as we reach all the way back up, and then we'll separate. Breathing in. So we're going to do 3 of those. That's one. Second one here. Big deep breath in, reaching up. Lower the palms, breathing out, pressing them down. Reach back up, breathing in. Slow, deep breath. Separate. Let's get one more and we'll get crazy on this one. We're breathing in little by little. We're reaching up, 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 up. We'll lace the fingers together just like earlier. We're lowering the palms down. And now we're going to lock the arms out overhead. Or if it hurts your shoulder, just stay a little low. But if it feels okay to go up here, that's great. If it feels okay to go up here, that's great. If it feels okay to reach all the way up, even better. And then we'll side bend. We're just going to tilt to the side, look up at those hands. Rise on up, big deep breath in. Side bend the other way. Breathing out. Eyes on up, breathing in. Again, side bend, little by little, breathing out. Back up, breathing in. Other side. Slow, deep belly breathing. One more for each side. Lower the arms down. I'm going to stand up for the rest of our warm-ups. Feel free to do what feels good for you. You can do them seated. You can do them standing. There's no wrong way. We got a few rules for Tai Chi practice. How about some big shoulder rolls while we chat? The first rule we've already kind of alluded to, which is if it hurts, stop or modify. There's no sense in working through pain. The second is this: don't panic. I say that because with any mindfulness-based practice, and Tai Chi is certainly a mindfulness-based form of exercise, it's easy to let the mind wander. And it's easy to feel like, I don't know if I'm doing it all right. But the name of the game is do what you can and don't worry about the rest. Next, let's gently twist. So we're just letting the arms hang like they're cooked noodles. We're doing some gentle twisting. We got the head up high. We got the back up straight. We're twisting away. And Tai Chi, maybe you've done it before. Maybe you're brand new to it. But Tai Chi is an old Chinese martial art. So there's a fighting application to everything we do in Tai Chi. But I got to tell you, the benefits of Tai Chi don't really come from breaking these techniques out in self-defense situations. The benefits of Tai Chi, especially for our gang, come from slow, focused movements, deep belly breathing, weight shifting, stepping in different directions. That's where we're really going to have a good time. So what I want to do next with you, whether you're seated or standing, is I want you to get one leg way out to the side. You might need to scoot all the way to the edge of your chair for this one. I want you to bend one knee and straighten the other. And don't worry about trying to go down into the splits or anything crazy, but we're just trying to feel a stretch on the inner thigh, maybe into your hip, trying to keep the head up and the back up. And you might say, hey man, I know Tai Chi is a martial art, but don't people move really slowly? To which I would say, in Tai Chi practice, slower is actually better, believe it or not. So that can be really helpful to keep in the back of your mind. And as a lot of people I've worked with over the years in helping people with Parkinson disease to move better, feel better, and fight back against symptoms, we know when you have an intense focus on what you're doing. Let's shift over to the other side. We know when you've got that intense focus, it's easy to recruit other pathways, other descending tracts from the brain down into the body, making it easier to bypass those symptoms in that moment. Some people call it intent. Some people call it focus. Whatever you want to call it is up to you. But you know, when you're deeply focused on the task at hand, it's a lot easier to control those movements. And that's where slower Tai Chi is even better. One more shifting the other way. Over time, we're going to practice. We're going to work on flexibility. We're going to work on balance. We're going to work on coordination. We're going to get to practice that intensive focus or that intentional focus on our movements. And in really traditional Tai Chi practice, we talk a lot about harmony. And for our group over these next 6 weeks, I really want you to focus on harmonizing your breath with your movement, trying to let that slow, deep breath drive the speed. Okay, this next one, it's a little wild, looks a little crazy, but we're all in it together. If you're seated, I want you to just rock your knees side to side, big slow motion. If you're standing, we're going to bend the knees a bit. We're going to put the hands on the thighs, and we're going to do some gentle circles. Gentle being the key word here. Small is okay. You know, a lot of times we talk about big movements. Small movements are okay for this one. We're going to change directions here in just a second. I think anecdotally, a lot of people who teach Tai Chi or have participated in Tai Chi groups over the years will tell you what I've observed, which is, if nothing else, it's so easy, especially with the rigidity that comes with Parkinson's disease and the dystonia, the abnormal resting tone of muscles that makes it so hard to move. It's easier to just kind of sit still and let things get worse. But one of the great benefits of Tai Chi is, just like we just did with those knee circles, we coat the joint surfaces with synovial fluid, making it easier to move. We're going to do that with our ankles next. And if you need to hang on to something, hang on to something. You can do it seated, you can do it standing, but hopefully you can get the heel up high on one of your feet and do some big gentle circles. Try to make them as big as you can and as smooth as you can. And getting that synovial fluid on our joint surfaces, that's kind of the magic behind a really classic physical therapy phrase, which is motion is lotion for the body. Some people think of it as like WD-40 for your joints. And, you know, I've had a lot of people over the years who experience creaking and cracking and popping noises when they move, with and without Parkinson's. Let's change directions on your circle. That's pretty normal. And as long as that creaking, cracking, and popping is not met with pain, that's okay. In fact, there's a member of one of my groups at Tribe Wellness in Dallas. One of our Tai Chi founding members said for many years, hey, Dr. Mike, if creaking and cracking is normal and a sign of living a good life, let's get the other ankle here. Maybe it's also a sign of intelligence, and I feel like the smartest person on the planet because my neck is creaking and cracking. Anyway, it became a good source of laughter every time we warmed up. I think you'll find I try to filter them, but sometimes I get a lot of jokes that I think are funny, and I hope they're funny for you. If not, you can just like everything else, take what you want and leave the rest. Don't worry about it. Big circles the other way. We're almost through our warm-ups. But, you know, a lot of forms of exercise, you don't get to move just about every joint and every segment of the body like you do in Tai Chi, which is really a nice benefit here. Our last part here, we're focusing on the neck. And we're going to do 3 different directions of motion for the neck. First, though, anytime we're moving the head around, it's really helpful to think about bringing those shoulders back and down, almost like you're pushing your chest out in front. Shoulder blades come back and down. You could think of squeezing it in towards your spine and then tucking those shoulder blades down towards your wallet pocket area. We're going to tip the chin towards the chest now and gently roll the head all the way around. Great big circle and all the way back. Take it slow. Try to make it as smooth as you can. If it helps to have some imagery, you can imagine drawing a big circle with your nose, trying to make it pretty smooth. And knowing good and darn well, it might not be a smooth circle, but that's okay. And over time, we're going to free up some more mobility. And you might say, hey, man, we're doing these warm-ups, and I hear you rambling on a lot. But what are we doing today in Tai Chi? And if you're thinking along those lines, I'm impressed. Let's continue warming up our necks while we get into it. Again, reset those shoulder blades back and down. And just like we're nodding yes, but slowly, we're going to tip the head all the way up, high as you can go, and back down. We're trying to keep those shoulder blades back and down the whole time as we do our big, gentle yes nods. Up and down. Up and down. Well, if our goal over these 6 weeks is to work our way through the Yang style short form, there are 5 major styles of Tai Chi practiced around the world. There are a lot of other ones, but there are 5 majors. And we're going from the Yang tradition or Yang family. We're doing the short form, which a lot of people call the 10. Some people call it the 8 in the martial arts world. There's a lot of room for confusion and debate. But we're going to do first couple movements from that today. And we're going to go over some stance basics and some weight shifting. We got one more for the neck, though. We're going to just tilt the head to one side and then the other. Try again, keeping those shoulder blades back and down the whole time. And you might say, hey, Mike, or hey, Dr. Mike, why are you so focused on keeping those shoulder blades back and down? On this particular movement, those muscles in the neck, a lot of them connect to the shoulder blades. I mean, if you think about that Parkinson-related posture we're trying to fight, it's really helpful to practice bringing those shoulder blades back. It opens up tightness from the chest. It activates those key muscles between your shoulder blades. And you can see how that would counter, I'll give you a side view here, that rounded shoulder, forward head posture that a lot of people are fighting just from living life against gravity, and we know is worsened even more by Parkinson's disease. So throughout, we're going to draw those shoulders back often, and that alone might even help you feel a little taller. That's a big win. If you get nothing out of today, that's a big win. Okay, hopefully you feel a little bit more limbered up. We did a lot of movement to get loosened up. And now we're going to get into some basics here. And all we're going to do first is we're going to focus on our breath. How are we going to do that? Well, we got to get into the most basic stance in all of Tai Chi. It's called Wu Chi. Wu Chi, which means emptiness. And it's thought from Wu Chi, we empty the mind and we empty the body of stress. So you get your feet about hips width or a little bit wider. You can do this seated. You can do it standing. Up to you. Soften those knees if you're standing. And let's tilt the pelvis back. So I'm in Texas. In Texas, a lot of times people like to think about those big rodeo belt buckles you see cowboys wear. If you had one of those Texas rodeo belt buckles, what I mean by tilt your pelvis back is if that belt buckle's facing forward, I'm hopeful you'll tilt it so it points up towards part of the ceiling where the ceiling meets the wall. So try to point it towards where the ceiling meets the wall. So you tilt your pelvis back, round out that low back, shoulders back and down. We're going to take the crown of the head, press it up towards the ceiling. We're going to relax the fingers, relax the arms. And then we're going to try to draw the muscles of the pelvic floor up and in. And you might say, how do I do that? And some of the ladies that might be with us know they're probably saying, hey, Dr. Mike, or hey, Mike, that's like a Kegel or a Kegel, however you want to say it. You're right. Or for the men who maybe don't know this as well, you could say the same muscles you use to hold it when you have to go to the bathroom. Try to do just a gentle squeeze of those muscles. Doesn't have to be your hardest contraction ever. But here we are. We got the knees soft. We got the back rounded, pelvis is tilted back, shoulders are back and down, heads up high. And here we can just start breathing in through the nose, slowly and deeply, and out even more slowly through the mouth. In, slowly, aim for like a 3 or a 4 count in, and out even more slowly, like a 4 or 5 count. Sometimes if you feel like, I'm not sure if I'm getting it, or if you feel like you're breathing too much from your chest, I'll ask you to put your hands just below your belly button here. And as you inhale, try to feel your stomach expand outward against your palms like you've just eaten too much. And as you exhale, just feel those palms fall back towards your hips and your spine. In little by little. Out slowly and softly. A lot of the really traditional teachers talk about this type of deep belly breathing as sipping the air rather than gulping it. You know, with my patients over the years in the clinic, we've talked about lessons that I've learned in martial arts. And one of the best lessons I've learned, you probably know it, but I'll share it with you anyway, is if you can control your breath, then you can probably control your response better to situations, people. I know people I've met over the years that have freezing or festinating gait. Feet are moving out of control. I'll just encourage them to stop everything. Stand tall, take that deep breath in, let it out slowly, and start fresh. And that's what a lot of research confirms. We're getting off track. We're here to do Tai Chi. We're not here to do freezing of gait stuff today. So we're going to take that same breathing with us into our techniques, into our movements from the Yang family or Yang style Tai Chi. And how do we do that? Well, the first thing we do is an opening technique called drawing the silk. And I got to warn you, we got crazy names for stuff in Tai Chi, and that's okay. I don't always know why, but it's okay. So for drawing the silk, whether you're seated or whether you're standing, we're in Wu Chi. We got the shoulders back. We got the crown of the head pressed up. We got that low back rounded out. All we're doing here is we're breathing in slowly. And as we slowly breathe in, we're raising the wrists up to about shoulder height. We don't have to go any higher. We're reaching the palms out, and then we're lowering the arms down slowly and softly. You can think of like a marionette puppet, how it has a string attached to the wrist. You can imagine we're drawing those wrists up. So that way you try to relax everything else in the arms. Palms out, lower down. And if you're feeling impatient, you might even sink into this technique even more. You're thinking, hey, I thought we were going to do a bunch of crazy cool stuff. We will. But we got to have some good basics. So let's breathe it in all the way up. Palms out. We'll lower the arms down, breathing out the whole way down. Here we can really focus on breath and movement. As we breathe in little by little, once we get to shoulder height, hopefully we can't breathe in anymore. And as we lower down, hopefully by the time the arms get by your sides, you can't breathe out anymore. Even slower for these last couple. In, out, in, out. Doing great. And you might say to yourself, well, that's great. I feel like I'm breathing more deeply. I feel like that puts me in a better state of relaxation. That's true. But also, when we do that deep belly breathing, which is so helpful for everyone in life, and even more helpful for some of these symptoms with Parkinson's, we know that we better oxygenate the brain. And that forces the brain to work at a higher level. It makes connections in the brain more excitable, and it makes processes in the brain easier to execute. So, there's a lot of neuroscience chemistry behind that we could get into, but I just want you to think deep belly breathing is doing a couple of things. It's oxygenating the brain, and it's putting us in a state that's a little bit more relaxed, hopefully still alert, but a little more relaxed, which can be great too, because that can clear stress hormones from the body. And you know this, but when you're stressed, people with Parkinson's disease, because Parkinson's is that poster child mind-body connection, stress can cause a short-term spike in symptoms. And if you're feeling extra stressed, you might notice, gosh, my tremor's a little worse, or I feel a little more stiff, or I have a little more problems with my walking and balance. And if you can just pause right then and there, get tall, do some of the same breathing, whether you include the arms or not, that can help you expand that locus of control, that area of stuff I can impact. And that's a great lesson from Tai Chi. So arm movements we got down. So far today, we've done warm-up. We've done Wu Chi, which means emptiness, our base posture. We've done the arms for drawing the silk. And you might say, but wait a minute, I thought we do some footwork in Tai Chi, and you are correct. So what I want you to do here is, if you need to hang on to something, see if you can position yourself right behind that sturdy surface, or really close to that sturdy surface. And if you don't need to hang on to something, that's okay. I just want to offer a lot of alternatives. But what we're going to do next is a really controlled empty step, is what we call it in Tai Chi. It's a great way to strengthen the hip. What we do here, the worldwide symbol for here comes some Tai Chi, is we're standing here, feet together, or sitting, feet together, shoulders back, you got the head up high. And then we start peeling your left heel up off the floor. I'm going to mirror you like you're looking in a weird mirror. So I'm going to move this one, and I'm going to say left. So little by little, let's start peeling that left heel up. And you feel that forces you to shift your weight onto the other leg. We're going to keep that weight on the other leg. We call this an empty step because we're lightly stepping out to the side. Toes are still pointing straight ahead. And then little by little, we're shifting the weight back until it's nice and even in those feet. Let's try that part a few times. We're keeping things simple so you can focus on the basics here. But we'll take in and let go of a nice deep breath. And then all of a sudden, it's Tai Chi time. Whether you're hanging on or seated, we're going to peel a heel up. We're going to lightly step out, toes straight ahead on both feet. We're going to start shifting the weight over to the middle till both feet are flat on the ground. And then we're going to sink, if you're standing up, into a nice high squat. And you can hold it here for a moment while I explain an important concept to you. So you can just hold this nice high squat. This is a stance in Tai Chi called Ma Bu stance. And that means horse stance. Horse stance. Horse stance is meant to feel or look like you're riding a horse. It's also a great way, hopefully you're feeling it, to strengthen those quads, to keep those hamstrings active to stabilize you, and to still fire those glutes, those muscles on the back of your cheek region. So what are we doing with horse stance? Let's come up for a moment. Well, one of the reasons I think Tai Chi is so helpful for so many people is horse stance is easily modified. You know, if you're seated in a chair, you're doing it sitting at the edge of your chair, and rather than focusing on bearing weight through the legs, you're focusing on keeping that back up straight and not slouching, right? So you're stepping out and holding it there and breathing. If you're standing, you know, we've been doing it where you're stepping out, you're sinking down just a bit. This is horse stance or Ma Bu stance for Tai Chi. Tai Chi is often taught a lot of times with Kung Fu. And in Kung Fu, you step out really wide. And then you sink down. And your horse stance is down low. And you can see how that could flare up a lot of knee pain, a lot of hip pain, even some low back pain. Up high, we're getting a lot of the same benefits as those people who are sinking down low, but we're not flaring up a lot of joint pain. So one of my challenges to you is to see if you can dedicate 1 minute out of each day for the next 6 weeks, our Tai Chi experience, to get into Tai Chi horse stance. Make sure the shoulders are back, make sure your head's up high, and to just hold it and breathe. And if you feel like, gosh, my legs are burning, you can tell yourself, well, that's just my muscles saying, thanks, buddy. Appreciate your looking out for me. I'm getting stronger. Or if you're getting knee pain or hip pain, you could just come up for a little bit and see how much of that minute you can stay in horse stance. So there are a lot of ways to modify this, but I'm hopeful each day you can get into Tai Chi Ma Bu stance, horse stance, hold it for a minute and breathe. If that's easy, go longer. For a black sash in Kung Fu, they hold that lower horse stance for 1 hour, and it's insane. I do not recommend it. There's no functional benefit. You feel pretty cool if you can pull it off. It was torture for me. Anyway, so our footwork, getting back to our technique, our footwork, we're doing drawing the silk, we're stepping out, and we're sinking down into that nice high horse stance. Let's slowly rise back up, and with good control, we're going to pick the heel up, we're going to step in onto the toes, and lower the heels slowly. We're going to do a few of these to one side. We're going to do a few of them to the other. In all of our routines, typically we go to our left. Don't call the Tai Chi cops. We're going to train both sides and it'll be okay. So here we go. Deep breath in and out before we begin. It's Tai Chi time. We got the heel coming up. We'll lightly step out. Shift the weight over and sink. Hold it for a moment. Come back up. Heel up. Step in on the toes. Lower the heel nice and slowly. Let's try it 2 more times here to your left. Heel up. Step out. Sink. Back up. Step in nice and slowly onto the toes, heel down with good control. And from the chair, same thing applies. From the chair, you're still stepping out towards the side of your chair, the corner of your chair. You're slowly letting that foot flatten onto the ground. You're coming back up, picking the heel up, And you're stepping in onto the toes, lowering the heel down. I saw the chat thing flaring up here. I'm going to pause for a moment before we get the other side and see, Gavin, have any questions or concerns come in so far?
Well, we just wanted to know if this was going to be recorded, and I've told everyone that it's going to be recorded but released after the 6-week section. But we also had a question: is this to be a lecture event or a follow along event, or maybe that was a? Is this supposed to be a lecture event? Is the question?
Oh, well, it certainly could be, but my hope is rather than just hearing me talk about movement, you try this stuff with me. I want to make sure you get some of the basics or areas to emphasize, but hopefully you can do it alongside, whether you're seated, whether you're standing hanging on to something, or whether you're standing independently. We're going to get into action and get the other side here too. So we got the shoulders back, we got the head up high, just like earlier. We'll take in a nice deep breath and let it out slowly. And all of a sudden, other leg here, we're peeling the heel up. We're lightly stepping out, shifting the weight over and sinking down slowly. Come back up, heel up, step in onto the toes, heel down slowly. Let's do a few more to this side here, evening it out. Step out, shift over, sink. Rise up, heel up, and then step in onto the toes, lower it down. I've got some practice videos too for some of this stuff that I can send out to Gavin and he can distribute to all of you. We know the Brian Grant Foundation does such great work to help people connect with resources. And I'm excited to get to be part of that here. Let's get 2 more out to your side. Slower is better. And you might say, hey, why is slower better? When you move slowly, you can really feel that weight shifting. And you can feel or focus on feeling each foot giving the weight over to the other leg or accepting the weight. And that does so much to improve balance because that challenges and strengthens connections in the brain for that afferent input rising up from the feet to tell the brain where the body is in space. Sometimes people call that proprioception. It helps to recalibrate your balance because then you really know where your feet are. So we're going to get crazier. We've been doing the arm motion. We've been doing the footwork. Now we're going to put it together. And if it's too tricky with any of this stuff we do, if it's too tricky, just pick one aspect of it, just the arms or just the feet, whichever is more challenging for you. So let's give it a shot. We're sitting or standing, minding our own business. We got the shoulders back. We got the crown of the head pushed up. We're going to take in and let go of a nice, slow, deep breath in and out. Step out to the left here. So heel up, lightly step out. And the whole time we draw the wrists up, we're shifting the weight over little by little. So by the time the wrists reach shoulder height, the heel, boom, flattens down onto the floor. Then, as the arms lower down, we sink, but we keep the head up and we keep the back up. We'll rise up, standing tall, wrists up to shoulder height. We'll step in onto the toes. And now, as we lower the hands, we'll lower the heel with good control. So those little details are where it can really get tricky, and that's also where things can get really helpful. Even if it's annoying, you think, I got it. Just give it some repetitions. We'll try it again. Heel up, Step out, breathe in, all the way up. Sit back on those heels and sink. Breathing out, lowering the arms down. Rise back up, breathing in. Step in onto the toes, hands and heel down together. Again, heel up, step out, slow breath in, out even more slowly. Back up, step in on the toes, hands and heel reach their end destination at the same time. One more here. Heel up, step out. We're harmonizing the weight shift with the breath and the movement. Come back up. Step in. Hands and heel down together. We're going to go do a few to the other side. Hopefully your legs are saying, hey, thanks, pal. You're challenging me. Here we go. Shoulders back, head up. Nice deep breath here, in and out. We're doing the other leg. Heel up, step out, draw the wrists up as we even out the weight. Sink. Back up. Step in onto the toes, hands and heel down together. Heel up, step out, breathe in, breathe out, back up, step in, or down. If your legs are just feeling too tired, you can always do the arms from the chair. Sit and take an active rest. I'm going to get the heel down and the hands down at the same time. One more. Make it your best yet. Deep breath. All the way up. In. Lower down. That's fantastic. How about a nice deep breath, reaching out, fresh air, fresh energy coming in the body. So we're taking things slowly. And you might think, man, I wish we weren't taking things so slowly. But as we get into these other techniques, a lot of these principles are going to build upon each other. And my thinking here is if somebody joins us for a few weeks, they'll still learn something new each week. If they join us late in the game and miss some, that's okay. Try what you can. But so far, what have we done? We did our warm-ups. We did Wu Chi and some standing, deep belly breathing. And then we did drawing the silk, the opening motion of the Yang style 10. Next up is one with a crazy name. And we can do it. We've been doing a lot for the legs here. We can do this from the chair to start. And then if we want to do it standing in a bit, we can. But this next one's got a really wild name. It's going to sound like I'm making this up. It's called Repulsing the Monkey. Repulsing the Monkey. And this one feels a little bit more martial artsy. When we put it together, you'll see. So take your left hand, bring it out in front of you, palm up if you can, towards the middle of your chest. So palm up, you get the hand out in front. I'll give you a side view here for a moment. So the arm's reaching out, it's not all the way, it's just got a little bend here at the elbow. Palms up towards the ceiling if you can get it there. And what we're going to do with this hand is we're going to pull it in towards the hip. We're going to bring it up by the ear, and we're going to look at that hand as we slowly point forward and press forward. Where are you pressing? Well, you're pressing midline of the chest, and at the end, you're really pushing the heel of the wrist, so to speak, forward, like you're high-fiving somebody. So let's do a few with just this hand. We got the palm up. We're going to pull in towards the hip as we breathe in. Reach up by the ear, point, and press as we breathe out. Flip up. Pull into the hip, breathing in. Reach up. Point and press. You might say, this doesn't feel too difficult, man. Well, good. But we can still work on coordinating that breath with the movement. Flip up. In, here's our last one on this side for now. Reach up. Press. And you might say, hang on, man, I got another arm. Let's do that. We'll use that other arm. So same deal. We'll start it out here, midline of the chest, palm up. We're going to pull it in just like earlier towards the hip. Bring it up by the ear, point and press. Flip up, pull in, bring it up, point and press. Flip up, pull in, reach up, point, press, and we can slow it down so we can really have that nice slow breathing in. Bring it up, point and press as we breathe out. And again, if you're having shoulder pain, just keep your reach a little bit lower. That's okay. Doesn't have to be up high. We're going to coordinate this now, where hands start together and finish together. They get to their starting position at the same time. They commence the movement at the same time, and they finish together. That's at least our goal. And if it's too tricky to coordinate, just do one and then do the other, because over time, we know repetition matters. So that'll make it easier and easier. So let's pick a side. I'm going to ask that you get your left hand out in front of you, palm up. If you feel better with the right, whatever. So we got one hand out in front, palm up. Other hand going to be up by the ear. Earlier, what did this hand that's palm up do? Well, it pulled into the waist. Earlier, what did this hand up high do? Well, it pressed forward. We're going to do them at the same time. So let's take a deep breath in. And we'll press forward and pull in. And then we'll flip up and reach back. Press forward and pull in. Flip up and reach back. We'll keep breaking it down a little bit here. Press forward and pull in. Flip up and reach up. Press forward and pull in. Flip up and reach up. Press forward and pull in. Flip up and reach up. And now, if that feels like it's getting a little easier, let's try to start them and finish them together. Slower is better. If you're having trouble coordinating it, just slow down. Makes it even better. Breathe out all the way through one direction. In all the way through the other. Out. In as we reset. Out as we press forward and pull in. Breathe in as we reset. Now, if that feels like it's getting easier, congrats, that's great. If you want more of a challenge, your eyes do movements in Tai Chi too, and that also helps with balance. The eyes are going to track the pressing hand. So if we've got your left hand up by your ear, and we got your right hand out in front, you're going to look at that hand, and the eyes are going to follow it as you press forward and pull in, flip up and reach up. Then we'll look at the other hand. Press forward and pull in.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
We have a couple of questions. One is, what does it mean by pointing toward the ear or the front? Or is he, I'm not understanding the point. Is this toward the ear? And then she said, I mean, pointing
Oh, the
toward the ear
ear,
or the front.
when I say bring it up by your ear, I'm just trying to give you a level approximately where you could hang it by your shoulder if you're having shoulder pain. You can hang it by the jaw, but about the same level as your ear is a really great place to have that palm striking or pressing hand before you reach out.
And one of the question I missed was, what does it mean by to sink in your chair?
Ah, well, I gave a demo of that earlier, and it's important to call out important things. So this is helpful. For those who are seated, this is what I mean by sinking back in your chair. I'm hopeful you won't sink into your chair. I'm hopeful you'll stay up tall the whole time, engaging those muscles of postural control. Obviously, if you need a break and you got to lean back for a moment, that's okay. But hopefully, through practice of Tai Chi from the chair, you can also build the endurance of those postural muscles. So thanks for bringing those up. Any others?
That's all for now. Well, let's see.
Okay.
Oh, it says, oh, the follow-up question is, no, I get that. I know it's by the ear, but is my palm open?
Ah, when you're by the ear, the palm is down towards the floor. So you're going to press palm over palm. One palm's up towards the ceiling, one's down towards the floor. So you press forward and pull in. And there's a nice martial arts application of this. You can imagine if somebody was reaching at you or punching at you. Well, if you got one hand flipped up, you're going to grab that wrist. What did that hand do? It pulled into the hip, right? We had another hand up by the ear. What did that do? Well, it pressed forward. So the application of Tai Chi is such that if somebody's reaching at you or they're punching at you, you can take their momentum and redirect it. So you can pull them in and lock out at the shoulder or counter strike at the cheek of your attacker. So I share some of the fighting application, not in the hopes that you will end up going out in the streets and rumbling, but more just for the detail. So please keep those questions coming as we go, but let's try to put what we've done together here too.
Yeah, we've got about 7 minutes left.
Yeah. So we remember from earlier, what's the ready or opening position? Well, before we do anything, we're going to get the feet together, shoulders back. We're going to bring the head up high. And just like earlier, before we do anything else, we're going to take in and let go of a nice, slow, deep breath. Now it's Tai Chi time. So we're going to start peeling that left heel up. Lightly step out on the left leg. Draw the wrists up. Arms out to shoulder height. We're going to sink. So we lower the arms down. Left palm up in front. Right arm back by the ear. We're going to press forward and pull in. Flip up and reach. Press forward and pull in. Let's do that again. We're going to do that 2 more times. Here we go. Standing tall or sitting tall, feeling great. Nice deep breath, bringing some fresh air into the body. And away we go. Heel up. Step out. Draw the wrists up. Sink. Palm up, right arm up. Press forward and pull in. Flip up and reach. Press forward and pull in. Step in. We'll do it again. One more time here. Slower and make it as smooth as you can. Shoulders back, head up. Nice deep breath. Heel up. Step out, draw the wrists up, sink. One palm's up in front, other by the ear. Press forward and pull in. Up and reach. Forward and pull in. Step in. Nice deep breath here. Reach out, fresh air, fresh energy coming in. Let's do a couple more of these. Big reach. Deep breath. So today we really started with some very basic fundamentals, and those fundamentals are really going to help as we move forward, because we're going to places where we're going to involve some other stances. We're going to keep building that leg strength, that hip strength, the endurance of those postural muscles. We're going to keep challenging coordination and those big functional movements. And we're going to string all that together with some other techniques. So next week, what are we doing? Well, next week, we're going to do some fancy footwork, shifting out, flattening the foot, getting into gong bu stance, bow stance, sitting back and stepping in. We're going to do a lot of this kind of footwork. I'm giving you a side view here. We're going to do some other arm motions, building on what we've done today. We're going to do a technique called brush the knee and palm strike. We're going to part the wild horse's mane. And on their own, those two techniques can be fantastic ways to build strength, coordination, balance. Or if you're like me, sometimes it's hard to sit and meditate, but with a lot of movement and focused breath with the movement, you can hopefully see why Tai Chi becomes action meditation. I know some people, especially in an intro class like this one today, think, oh, I don't know. There was a lot. And my hope is if it felt easy for you, great. Next week, we're going to do even more, and we're going to do some other stuff. If it felt hard for you, don't worry. Just come back next week because we're going to do different stuff. So hopefully you can keep meeting this stuff from wherever you are. And, you know, if you're seated, you're going to work a whole lot on that upright posture, which helps you to really breathe more deeply and get those arm motions and our footwork. If you're standing, well, we're still going to do that deep belly breathing. We're still going to do those arm movements, but we're going to try to build some hip control, some leg control, or maybe you've already got that control. Maybe it was easy for you. Awesome. But we're going to keep working on it to keep those muscles strong and active. So hopefully you got a good sense of where we're going. Hopefully you had some fun too. Let's take a few more deep breaths and we'll do just a little something to close out here. So kind of like we did moments ago, we're going to reach out and breathe in deeply, imagining you're bringing fresh air and fresh energy into the body. And then we're going to try to isolate one side of the body, heel and shoulder, coming up together and down together 3 times. Up and down, heel and shoulder traveling together. 3. Other side, same deal. Shoulder up, heel up, bring them down together. Up, second time, down, third one, up, down. It's a nice way to rearrange the body here, reorganize some energy. Let's take one last deep breath in. Palms together here. And then as a sign of respect to each other and where we practice, we'll stand or sit tall, give a slight bow. Hopefully you can give yourselves a round of applause for good work. You tried something new today, or maybe you've done Tai Chi forever and you got a different approach to it. Either way, I'm glad you're with me. I'm glad you're doing this. Hopefully you are too. And remember your homework. 1 minute each day, Ma-bu stance, deep breathing, even seated, sitting tall, feet wide. Nice deep breath here. 1 minute each day. It'll be awesome. Thanks for showing up and trying hard. Take care.